Hello and welcome to Learn with Indrjeet. This is another video in the series of videos titled Building a To-Do Management System Application in the latest .NET 8 framework. In this series of videos, we are building together a very simple to-do management application to learn various programming concepts. In the previous video, we learned how to implement a login partial view to show relevant links to the authenticated and anonymous users. If you haven't watched that video, please go ahead and watch that too. In this video, we'll be implementing assign to do to user functionality, where we'll be showing a list of users, a drop down of users on the create and edit to do model pop-up, so that a user can be assigned to a to do. It is going to be very informative, so watch it till end, and if you find this video useful, give it a thumbs up. I am very excited to dive in, but before that, I want to thank all the viewers that have subscribed to my channel. Thank you so much. If you are new to this channel and haven't already subscribed, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on the latest content. So let's get started. Okay, so let's go to the database first and add our new columns to the to-dos table, one for created by and one for assigned to. Then we'll go to the to-do model to add the two columns as new properties here. After that, we'll visit to-do VM for adding the properties and the to-do DTO. Okay. After that, we would be writing a function in the IAuth service. So IAuth service, that is there in the application project, to get a list of usernames drop down, right? And then we'll implement the same in the auth service. Using this user manager, we want to get a list of the users. After that, we'll visit the auth controller in the web API and implement another endpoint to get the users drop down here, right? After this, we'll check the functionality up to web API. So let's go to the database, created by, let it be an varchar of 128. That's okay. Copy this and paste it for assigned to and save the table. So as of now, we have two null columns, for one for created by and one for assigned to. Okay. Now let's add property to the model. So prop tab, string created by and assigned to. Same way in the view model. Yes, so just after completed by, and here in, okay, let's put in data annotation for string length. So paste and change the length to 128 that we fixed in the database. Okay, so our model, view model and DTO are ready. Now let's declare a function over here which is expected to return a list of drop down VM get users drop down like so with no parameters. But the problem is this drop down VM is having the ID property as integer and we want a string. So let's create another one which has both the properties as string. So let's name it drop down strvm and let's change the name and the data type like so, and we'll use this one here. Okay, now in the auth service let's implement the interface and go there and say return user manager dot users dot select. We want to select elements such that we can generate a new drop down string VM with the ID as the element dot username and text as the username. Okay, and dot to list async, otherwise it will keep on yelling at me. And before converting to list, let's order by x dot maybe ID because both are same. So we are doing this and this. Let me just format it a bit like so. So from the users we are selecting the username as well as the username only for ID and the text in the drop down string VM, ordering it by ID and then returning the list as a task. Okay, and in the auth controller let's go ahead and use this method, this one here. So it says publishing task of iAction result users drop down. Using the get users drop down function from the auth service, it gets the drop down VMs and returns an API response. Okay, and let's check for null also. So there is a get function over here. That's fine. Let's copy this and let's check for a null like so. If this is equal to null and or let me just delete this, or this guy dot count is less than or equal to 0, then return a bad request get failed and the message would be record not found. Right, so let's test this up to API level. So let me just build the application. Waiting. Okay, building the web API and succeeded. Okay, Let's hit F5 to start the application in debug mode. So we have our new endpoint in the auth controller. Let's try it out, execute, and see if it returns the user names. Yes. So it returns us all the usernames as ID and the text for the drop down. Okay. So we'll be using the username only for both ID as well as text. Right. Okay. Now let's go ahead and implement it in the front end application, that is the web app. And to start with, we'll go to the service interfaces, where in the auth service we'll declare another method, then we'll implement it in the auth service, the implementation, and then we'll use it in the page where to-dos are there. So to-dos are everywhere on every page, but we'll start with the index page, then you can extend it to all the pages. So let me show it to you for index page. Okay, so on the index page we have this model partial, we'll have another form group for assigned to, and a hidden property for created by, and in the code behind file we'll have another function to get the to-dos list, to get the users list, and in the to-dos.js we'll be changing some of the functionality to like implement the assigned to and created by. Okay, so let's start with the IOT service. So Control D, it will be like get users drop down with no parameters. Save that. In the auth service, let's implement this interface and use this. So it will be a get method. On the auth controller, we want to call the users drop down endpoint, and for the time being let it be false for testing purpose. Later on we'll change all our endpoints to true, like the add auth header flag to true, and we want to put in async here. Fine. Now on this page, the index.cshtml, we don't want to do anything. Let's close this. And on this to do manage partial, we want to add one div with class form group for assign to, and we'll say select user. Let's remove the not required options, assign to here, and a hidden property for created by. Okay, fine. So here we are done. Now in the CS page, let's have a function for getting the users drop down. So we want to use the auth service get users drop down function to get the API response with the users drop down. If everything is okay, we are converting that to model VMs, the list of drop down str VM, and returning the JSON result. Okay, otherwise we are returning record not found. Now in the JS file, let's create a function to consume the newly created method. So it will be initialize users drop down. Yes, let's be consistent with the names that we are using, and the option for will be user, select user, like so, and the handler would be this one, users drop down. And why so? Let me just show you that. So on a Razor page, this on get, on post, on delete, this represents the HTTP verb, and this is the name of the method that we want to invoke. So yeah, right. So once done, if the data is having something, we want to use the ID and text to form the options of the select, and then we put all these options into this list. Okay, and we want to call this function when the manage modal is being showing up. Okay, now just as we have this created on, let's have another one for created by, and the value would be coming from data dot like so. Also, just as we have this repeat, there will be another select for assigned to, and the value would be coming from this property with a small a, of course. Okay, and this will be an empty string like this for created by, and the same way would be for this guy. Okay, fine. Now before we go ahead and test the functionality, let's do one thing. Wherever we are creating a to do, let's initiate the property for created by. For example, here we are creating, so let me search for this in the entire solution, and okay, we have it 10 matching lines. Fine. So let's go ahead and yes. So if the model.id is 0, that means we are creating the to do, and inside of that we want to initialize the created by property. Okay, so it should be model DTO dot created by is equal to the user dot identity dot name, and before we can set this, let's check for if the user dot identity is not null, only then set this property like so. Okay, and we want to do this at 4 more places, so let's copy this code block and go to the next one and paste the next one, paste, and the next one, paste, the next one, and paste. Okay, this one seems to be something different. So here what we are doing is we are initializing it to do, and this is a object initialization, so we'll have to check for it outside this block. So let me just paste it, and let's remove these two. Okay, so we are saying once the model DTO is initialized, we are checking for identity and initializing the created by property. Okay, so let me just copy these 4 lines and repeat it at 4 more places. So here and here, one more. Fine, save all. Let's build and rebuild, and once it rebuilds, we'll check for the created by property. So we'll create a new to do and see if created by appears here or not. Okay, so let it build. Okay, it builds successfully. Let's start the application. And we have an error. So let's go through it. An error occurred during the compilation of a resource required to process this request. Please review the following specific error details and modify your source code appropriately. Okay, the generated code is this 196 line. Okay, I HTTP context accessor could not be found, and I configuration. Okay, let's go here. So we were implementing a login partial in the previous video, and let's go there. I think I know what it is saying. Yes, see, the using statements are missing for I configuration and I HTTP context accessor. That is why it is complaining. Okay, so let's put in those usings here. So at using Microsoft.extensions.configuration, this one is for I configuration, and Microsoft ASP.NET Core the rate using Microsoft.ASP.NET Core HTTP for the HTTP context accessor. And if we hit refresh, yes, we have it. Now let's sign in with username test user3 at gmail.com, abcd#123 with a capital A, and sign in. Okay, now let's try and creating a to do. So to do item to check created by and assigned to. Okay, fine. So this is this to do is added. That's okay. Let's go ahead and check in the database if we have a, yes, we do have a created by property field. Okay, let's check it for edit. So if we now go ahead and edit this, we are looking for two things. One is we have assigned this task to test user 1, and the created by property should be preserved. Okay, because of that hidden field that we took in the partial view. Okay, so let's save that, and now if we hit refresh, yes, see, now this task is assigned to test user 1 and it was created by test user 3. Okay, and if we mark it as important here and then save, it is marked as important, so this should be true, like so. And if we edit it partially, like this, save, yes, fine. And okay, so see, the item is edited, but when we marked it as important, the assigned to disappeared. Okay, so let's go to when we marked it as important, and on this index page, post manage on get model, on post manage. I think we marked it as important and then saved it. So on get edit, let's go to the partial view, this one, and when we click save, it actually goes ahead and post this form to on post manage. So where is that? On get add, on get edit, yeah, this one. And while we are editing, we must have this property initialized by this JS here. So let's do assigned to was missing. Okay, so assigned to property. Okay, so let's do that once again and then see. So let me just go ahead and assign it to test user 1, save, let me check, yes, it is properly assigned. Now if we go ahead and mark it as not important, and let's see again, yes, it is preserved, fine. So the functionality is working okay. So this way we have implemented the assigned to and created by properties on our to-dos. The next step, that is most important step after implementing identity, we want to make our controller actions as well as our razor pages secure. Okay, so to start with the controllers, let me just put in this attribute, this data annotation on all of our controllers, first thing. And in the auth controller, we don't want the register and login to be authorized. Change password is fine, it is authorized already. Refresh token, no need. And here also we want to make the users drop down secure. Okay, so save this. So all our API controllers are now secure. Close, and let's go to the pages now. So starting with this, okay, let me open all of these first and then we'll put the data annotation. Okay, let's make it authorized to in the shared errors. Let the errors be as they are, and the change password should be authorized. Okay, so we decorate this class with this data annotation and it is secure. Okay, so let's do the same thing for every page one by one, very quick. To-dos completed and save all. Let me close some of these. This is done, this one is done, this one is also done, and this one is fine, this one is also done. Okay, so we have made the whole front-end application secure, all the pages. Now let's move on to the service implementations. So wherever we are calling a secure HTTP endpoint, we want to pass true here in this parameter. This represents the add auth header, so that authentication header could be added to the request. Okay, so we want to change this to true in the current document. Okay, that too one by one. Fine, fine. So to do service is done. Now here only two to do groups, nothing here. In the generic service we have this, so replace everything. Fine. And in the auth service, sign up sign in is fine, change password is already set to true. Let's set this one to true also, and we are good to go. So now if we start the application and try to go to the index page, it should send us to the login page. Okay, the sign in page. So let's see that. Rebuild succeeded. Let's start the application and see. If we try to go to the index page straight away, it redirects us to the sign in page, and if we sign in, then only the application is accessible. So to do's, to do lists, groups, important to do's. Okay, so I think to do's important page, we just missed that. This is fine. And what about this? Sorry, to do service, edit partial. Yes, so these two should also be converted to true. We missed these, and let's restart again. Okay, so let's sign in again. testuser3@gmail.com, the password and the important to do's. Now it is fine. Due today, the index page. Okay, so the functionality that we implemented for created by and assigned to, only one thing is to be implemented in to-dos page from the index page is this and this function that we created, or get users drop down. So this function has to be copied to to-dos like this, and I think we are good to go with other things, because the to-do manage model partial is same and the to-dos JS is the same that we use in the index page as well as in the to-dos page. Okay, so this is the only method that has to be implemented on both the pages. Otherwise the partial view and the JS file is same. Okay, now we have covered a lot of ground creating this application together, and a lot of things can still be implemented. So those are like user management page, the rule management page, the a page where user like edits his functionality, his profile. He can upload a profile image for himself, and then there will be like there will be functionalities like we can use this to-do ms application as a project management application, where to-do groups can serve as projects, those lists can serve as the modules of the project, and the to-dos can serve as the tasks that are related to those modules. Then we can have a functionality to invite users using a email link or something to our to-do application, and then we can assign different tasks to them. So a lot of things can be implemented, but the purpose of this application was to like learn some of the programming concepts that we did. And if you think we missed anything that I promised, please leave that in the comment section. Right, so let me stop the application. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you found this video helpful and learned something, don't forget to hit the like button and share it with your friends. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, hit the subscribe button below. Your support means a lot to me. This encourages me to invest more time and create more valuable content for you. Remember to click the notification bell so you never miss an update on future videos. In the comment section below, please let me know what you learned from today's video. What was your favorite part? If you have any questions on today's topic or suggestions for future videos, feel free to drop them in the comments. I read and respond to as many comments as I can. To watch more videos on the same topic, check out the playlist or visit the channel. Thank you so much for your time. Keep learning.